Welcome to Body Fluids and Circulation, Session 7. In this module, we are going to learn about the structure of the human heart. The human circulatory system, it consists of heart, blood vessels, and blood. The heart is mesodermal in nature. Mesoderm is a germ layer which is present in the animal embryo, and this embryo it gives rise to specialized tissue types in animals. And mesoderm is one of the three germ layers which is found in triploblastic organisms. We have studied in class 9 there are two types of organisms, diploblastic and triploblastic. Triploblastic have three germ layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So heart originates from the germ layer called as mesoderm. And the heart is located in the thoracic cavity, that is chest cavity, in between the two lungs. The double membrane that surrounds the heart is called as the pericardium. So pericardium is a double layered membrane that surrounds the heart. And the pericardium circles the pericardial fluid which is present beneath the pericardium. The human heart is four-chambered, two atria and two ventricles. A thin wall separates the left and right atria. We have learned in class 10 there is complete separation of the right half and the left half. So the right atrium and the left atrium is separated by the intraatrial septum, a thin wall called as intraatrial septum. In the same way, the left and right ventricles they are separated by thick intraventricular septum. The intraatrial septum is thin, whereas the intraventricular septum is thick. Let us learn about the valves which is present in the human heart. The opening between the right atrium and right ventricle is guarded by a valve called as tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve has three cusps. A cusp is a pointed end where the curves meet. Two curves meet each other is called as a cusp. So in the case of tricuspid valve, there are three cusps and it guards the opening between right atria which opens into the right ventricle, and this is the tricuspid valve. And this is the left atrium which opens out into the left ventricle, and this is guarded by a mitral valve, or it is called as a bicuspid valve. So this valve which opens between the left atrium and left ventricle is called as the bicuspid valve. The left ventricle opens out into the aorta, which carries the oxygenated blood to all parts of the body. And the right ventricle, it opens out into the pulmonary artery. From here, it moves out into the pulmonary artery, which carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation. And this junction or the opening between the left ventricle and the right ventricle, which opens out into the aorta and the pulmonary artery, these openings are guarded by semilunar valves. Okay, so the three valves are tricuspid valve between the right atrium and right ventricle, the bicuspid or mitral valve between the left atrium and left ventricle, and the openings between the ventricles, right and left ventricles, to the pulmonary artery and aorta respectively are guarded by the semilunar valves. So the function of valve in the heart, it allows the blood to flow in only a single direction and preventing the backflow of blood. So that's a function of the valves inside a human heart. The heart is a muscular organ which is made up of specialized muscular tissue called as the cardiac muscles. A specialized cardiac musculature, which is called as the nodal tissue, is dispersed in the heart. Let us learn about these nodal tissues. One nodal tissue is called as the sinoatrial node or the SA node. And this SA node is present in the upper right corner of the right atrium. So the position of the SA node is on the upper right corner of the right atrium. And the second nodal tissue is the atrioventricular node, or it is called as the AV node. And its position is again in the right atrium, but in the upper left corner of the right atrium. So the two nodes, SA node and AV node. Next is the third type of the nodal tissue, or it is a bundle of nodal fibers. And this bundle of nodal fibers is called as the AV bundle, or it is called as the atrioventricular bundle. Okay, the atrioventricular bundle, which continues from the atrioventricular node or the AV node and passes through the septa, that is, which separates the atrioventricular septa, which separates the right atria and the right ventricle. So the AV bundle, it starts from the AV node, which is present on the upper left corner of the right atrium. Then it passes the atrioventricular septum and divides into two, the right bundle and the left bundle. These bundles, the right and left bundle, they again divide to form minute fibers called as the Purkinje fibers. And all these are the nodal tissues which is necessary for the beating of the heart, the rhythmic beating of the heart. And the SA node is called as the pacemaker of the heart, as it has the ability to get excited and generate an action potential or an electrical impulse. So the SA node is called as a pacemaker. So if the SA node gets damaged, in such persons, an artificial pacemaker is introduced into his body, which does the same function of an pacemaker, an original pacemaker, that is to generate an action potential or an electrical impulse. Let us see the picture. So here we can see the SA node, which is present in the upper corner of the right atrium. And from here, once the action potential is generated, it passes to both the atria, and then it is passed to the AV node, that is the atrioventricular node, which is present on the upper left corner of the right atrium. So these are the two atria, the SA node and the AV node. Then this passes down the atrioventricular septum and divides into two, that is the left bundle and the right bundle, which again divides into minute branches called as the Purkinje fibers. So, and all these together is called as the bundle of His. All this is called as the bundle of His. Thank you.